What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny, episode 78. We're going to talk about a lot of things today. As the no data to display. Hold on. What the? Hold on. How are we already starting off on the wrong foot? YouTube is so funny. Hopefully, I'm back, guys. Welcome, everyone. This is Talks with Kenny, episode 78. I'm redoing this again. We got a lot to talk about. As you know, next week, good evening, Scotland Scorpion. Appreciate you for showing up. Hopefully, stream ain't too bad. I'm getting choppiness. Give me a sec. What's going on? It's like I don't do my usual time, and then I get a bunch of choppiness. Just my luck. Give me 1 second to see if I can get this up. Whatever. We're just gonna jump right into it. So MSNBC got some major backlash. This is gonna be surrounding the Mayorkas race or case and immigration. Your stream sounds good from 4,000 miles away. I appreciate it. I guess it's just me and my high expectations, but I want to talk about what's going on here in the United States of America. So Biden decided to issue a new portal where illegal immigrants are allowed to check in without having to show up in person. Now, this is a problem because of what we're going to read here. Because Lincoln Riley has been a big story. Her killer has been prosecuted, and I think he's serving life in prison. And the MSNBC alters their op-ed headlines amidst backlash, where they was giving a sympathetic feel to him. So let's read the summary of the news. MSNBC faced significant backlash after publishing an article with headlines perceived to be sympathetic to Jose Abrera, an illegal immigrant who convicted of murder of Georgia nursing student Lincoln Riley. The original headline said that Lincoln Riley's killer never stood a chance. This is what I'm saying. I'm starting to believe that many people are starting to get tired of people on the left, right? People on the left have sympathy and empathy for like the wrong kind of people. This is something I picked up from the left, and I think we all felt about this: the victim Olympics, the victim hierarchy. I think I've been through this a lot with the identity politics. But if you happen to be born in a group that is perceived as a victim class, you're a trans individual, you're black, you're a minority, you can do nothing wrong. You're perfect in the eyes of the left. If you get convicted of rape, oh my God, we're supposed to look at you with sympathy. If you're a victim of rape and the person happens to be a minority against you, you're supposed to feel sympathy for them. Your whiteness made him rape you. What? What kind of Looney Tunes world do the left live in? And you're going to see this common thread before I go into Donald Trump and how he won. This sparked major backlash, right? For seemingly evoking sympathy for Abrera rather than focusing on the victim. And this is something you see a trend in even in media. I remember, I forget what Netflix show it was, but apparently they showcased in Netflix or some show where a woman was raped by a black student, a young black student, and she didn't want to convict him because it would be the justice system was treating black people unfairly. Yes, you heard that right. In a movie or a show, they portray a woman who was victimized by a young black teen of rape, and somehow she blamed white privilege on the whole aspect because she didn't want the kid to be going through the criminal justice system because the criminal justice system have treated people unfairly. This is the collective mindset of the left. But I digress. Legal analyst Danny Cavellos argued that the defense decision for a bench trial was due to overwhelming evidence, which left them with no realistic chance of success. Critics, including notable public figures like Donald Trump, condemned the headlines as deprived, arguing it showed more concern for the murderer than the victim. The headline was eventually changed to "The guilt of Lincoln Riley's killer was never in doubt." Amidst the widespread criticism, the case was highlighted broader political discussions on immigration policies, with some blaming the Biden administration for Abrera's entry into the U.S. And this takes me back to this op-ed where Biden and Mayorkas race to ensure more migrant damage after they leave. Like, make it make sense. We are experiencing the outcomes of Biden's poor, lenient, lax border policy. And let me know in the chat or in the comment section or wherever time you happen to be watching the stream. Does this sound like a good idea for a country that just finished evicting a dude who, if Trump's policy, remaining border policy, was still in place, which Biden revoked in his first 100 days in office, he would not even have the opportunity to do what he did to Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley may have been still alive today if Donald Trump was president. If Joe Biden decided to keep Trump's border policy in place, which was an executive order. President Biden and Homeland Security Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas seems to think that their border policies haven't done enough damage to the country. So they're racing to ensure even more harm after they leave. With just 2 months to go, and Joe Biden's been doing a lot of effing up in these 2 months, authorizing Ukraine to shoot rockets at Russia. Russia fires back. It seems like this man is trying to sabotage Trump before he leaves. But that's a discussion for another video. Well, just 2 months ago, before Team Trump takes over, the Biden crew is getting set to roll out an ICE app starting in New York in December that lets illegal migrants skip periodic in-person check-ins that are required while they're waiting for court dates that could be years off. Make this make sense. New York, where 3 out of 4 crimes is committed by an illegal immigrant, and you think this is a good idea? This is a border policy that Joe Biden has pushed where they allow 400 illegal immigrants who committed crimes in their country of origin to cross over the border without any vetting process. And now he's giving the same situation where we have like about 400,000 criminals that cross over the border illegally into our country who haven't met ICE, who haven't got vetted at all, no vetting process. And he's going to allow these same people to check in from an app where you can't even track their location. Doing everything in his power to make it hard for Donald Trump to fulfill one of his campaign promises, which is mass deportation, which 55% of Americans agree with, by the way. Right now, those who miss in-person check-ins are subjugated to deportation. Like, make it make sense. People who can't make it to their check-in in person, therefore, aka they left New York, they left the town that they were in. If they couldn't make it, they'll be subjugated to deportation. So as a loop around, hey, let's make the check-in process as easy as possible. This is fraud waiting to happen, right? But those who check in by the app won't be, making it harder to deport or even find them. Make this make sense. This is what I'm saying. I'm thinking, as someone I'm center right, but I believe people are starting to get annoyed with the left, right? You think this is just, media people, Kenny, this is just reporters, right? I'm done talking the story because I'm getting pissed off just thinking about it. A Democrat governor refuses to help deportations as ICE bust alleged illegal alien child rapist in her state. Let that simmer in real quick. I'm getting a migraine from the stupidity of the left. I'll repeat that again. A Democrat governor refuses to help deportations as ICE busts an alleged illegal alien child rapist in her state. Sanctuary City, oh no, we're going to cooperate with ICE if it's a criminal illegal, finds criminal illegal. Mariah Haley said that she would absolutely not assist with federal deportation efforts. This is sanctuary cities, this is sanctuary states, and people voted for this. You got Gavin Newsom, snake oil salesman 2.0. A snake oil salesman's final form, telling you I care about everybody. But this is the kind of policy. Brandon Johnson going into almost $1 billion in debt to take care of illegal immigrants in his town at the expense of the American people. Look at this. Is this American first to you? No, it's not. And they wonder why Trump has a 53% approval rating right now at the time of me making this live stream. Because Democrats have been exposed. And this is what I'm saying. People are starting to get sick of the left. They're virtual signaling. They're fake moralizing. Everyone's getting sick of the left. Because of the fact that you're putting the safety of your citizens at risk. For what? If this don't tell you that Democrats have a political motive for keeping illegals in their country, in their state, sorry, I don't know what will. I don't know how many times I have to go through this motive again. But Democrats benefit with population numbers. Population numbers decide how much electoral votes you get. Electoral votes make it easier for these Democratic blue states to gain more power. Make it make sense. A state always voted Democrat, and the more illegals they bring in, the more their electoral college increases, grows. So it takes less and less states to win an election. Majority of Americans agree with me that if we only require the census to count American citizens, only American citizens should be allowed to vote. No way a Democrat will win. But look at all the states. And many people on YouTube, many people on Twitter, many people point this out. All the states that Democrats won are states that don't require voter ID to vote. So if I make the argument, hey, these Democratic voters, these Democratic politicians, they see illegals as Democrat voters, does it make sense that you have to drag? It's like pulling teeth to get them to comply with ICE just to deport illegals, even if they're alleged child rapists. This is the left. This is the Democrats. It's asinine at this point. It's asinine, right? And now you see why MSNBC got the backlash that they get for putting out a sympathetic headline. Lincoln Riley, I forgot the guy's illegal's name already. Jose Abrera never stood a chance. Aw. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime. And if you're an illegal immigrant, you committed a crime already. But we're supposed to have sympathy for these people. The left expects you to have sympathy for these people. And they're wondering why their ratings are going down the toilet. Everyone's in panic. MSNBC staff upset after Comcast confirms it's looking to spin off cable news. Hello, LJ Taylor. I hope you're doing okay. People don't really know what's going on. Another source says they held an election. Holidays are coming up. As you guys know, MSNBC is going through, let's say, a tough day, a tough week. Joe Scarborough had to go and kiss up to Trump to get in his good graces, right? Then they got backlash from their own audience, which further increased protests because MSNBC's ratings are down 50%. They lost half their viewership, right? Rachel Maddow, their leading contributor at MSNBC, I believe she had to take a pay cut. Don't worry, don't be sad for her. She got paid $30 million. Rachel Maddow. If you don't know who Rachel Maddow is, let's see if I can pull her up real quick. Give me 1 second as I pull up Rachel Maddow. Let's see. I don't even know how to spell her name. That's crazy. It doesn't matter. Rachel Maddow. Rachel Maddow took a pay cut, right? This is Rachel Maddow. We all know. She looked kind of like Mark Cuban. That's Mark Cuban's long lost sister. Yeah, this is Rachel Maddow. She is the lead contributor for MSNBC. I heard she gets paid $30 million. You heard that right. $30 million. And you know how often she works? I work harder than her. I post on average 2 videos a day. This woman gets paid $30 million to record once a week. You heard, once a week. Wouldn't we all love that? Once a week, get it paid $30 million. Only got to work an hour a day for one day for an entire week. Oh my gosh, she's living the life. I'm sorry, you guys are just seeing. She's living a life. Well, MSNBC is going through some trouble because now she had to take a pay cut. So she's not getting paid $30 million anymore. She's getting paid $25 million. Well, it's nothing, You could live comfortably off of $25 million, right? But this shows how how can I say this? This shows how in trouble MSNBC is. Because usually, if you got a track record, you're doing a good job, you get paid more, you get a raise usually. But to get a pay cut signifies that MSNBC might be in trouble, guys. It may be gone may be the days where we get to make fun of MMC, call out their hypocrisy, listen to their lunacy, honestly. We're going to miss it one day. Like Brian Stelter. MSNBC staff, I already said that. Stars of the left-leaning network like Katie Torr, Rachel Maddow, Chris Jensen reportedly joined a tense meeting led by NBC Universal Chairman Mark Lorenzo or Laris to discuss what news of the spinoff meant, with staff curious about if MSNBC would have to change its name and logo and headquarters. Oh, that boy, they scared. Those with knowledge about the meeting said that Lazarus didn't offer much information about what it meant for them or whether there will be any changes, the outlet noted. Everyone's in panic because everything's up in the air, one MSNBC source told the outlet. I mean, your top star, the ones that's bringing in the most ratings, had to take a pay cut. That shows you, oh, no. LOL, biblically, Lazarus. I think it's Lazarus, but I don't know why I second guess myself. Public reading. You second guess yourself when you see these words. But I digress. People don't really know what's going on. Another source said they had the election, holidays are coming up, people are tired and just trying to get through. Hey, I know left-wing people are tired, right? But there's a lot to be panicked about. I mean, if your top star, the one they said that her show is ratings Viagra, right? She's getting a pay cut. Oh, everyone's on the chopping block. Hey, look, I'm predicting it right now. Joy Reid is getting fired. There's no way I will not believe. I don't believe Joy Reid is bringing in ratings. I cannot believe it. No way. My ego won't let me. If I find out, if I ever find out how much Joy Reid gets paid, I'm gonna say she got overpaid. But we're done with that. I try to be more disciplined with how I go about my live streams now, just so we can get through it. So Trump's sentencing in New York hush money case suspended indefinitely. You must have more subs. I try. Hey, look, the work speaks for itself. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna give up, but I appreciate the sentiment. Ingrida. You guys know I suck with names. The judge overseeing President-elect Donald Trump's hush money case in New York has postponed the sentencing in case, and it gives his lawyers the chance to argue now that the conviction should be thrown out because he won the election. Now, one thing I hate about this story, this case here, is that it didn't get to go through appeals. That's the one thing I get tired of. It didn't go through the appeals. So Trump's been winning all day. All they do is win, no matter what. This is Trump right now. That's Trump right. All Trump does is win. He won elections. He wins the popular vote. He wins court cases. Like, they can't stop my boy. Oh, yeah. Give me 1 second. My laptop decides that my laptop decided to act up. Okay. So official. New York Supreme Court Justice Juan Merchant, who Trump's team tried to have removed from the case over allegations of bias. This is one of the reasons why I said this case was politically motivated. Did not schedule a future sentencing in Friday's one-page order, canceling next week's sentencing hearing. So let me get this straight. You charge a man of 34 counts. Then you're supposed to sentence the man. And instead of calling the case off, you just said, "Nah, I'm not gonna give a future court date." How am I supposed to take that? Trump won, right? But these people are so sore losers, they don't want to admit that they did this all for political reasons. In a decisive win for President Trump, the hoax Manhattan case is now fully stayed and sentencing is adjourned, said Stephen Chun, Trump's communications director. President Trump won a landslide victory as the American people have issued a mandate to return him to the office and dispose of all remnants of the white witch hunt cases. All the sham lawfare attacks against President Trump are now destroyed, and we can focus on making America great again, he continued. The Washington Post reported that Merchant is allowing Trump's lawyers to make their case for why the conviction should be thrown out now in light of his re-election bid to interference, and it would cause his ability to execute his role. So these people are trying to make this one thing. This is why I don't like this. Even though it's a win for Trump, I don't like how Washington Post try to spin it. They're trying to spin it like, oh no, Trump is not innocent. It's just he became president and we can't sentence him anymore. That's going to be the whole narrative when this stuff gets repealed. When the whole thing was fraudulent from the start. If you follow me for a while, I think I don't know how many videos talking about this thing. So the case here is Trump believes that he can sell his property in Mar-a-Lago in Florida, West Palm Beach in South Florida. Hey, look, that's where all the big money live. I'm just saying. He says, I can sell that for $1.1 billion. And because a judge disagreed with Trump's assessment of his property value, he got hit with fraud. Make it make sense. How you get hit with fraud when you were able to pay back all the banking loans you got, right? If the pretext was, hey, these banks, Trump scammed these bank officials, these bankers, out of money because they gave him a loan based on the evaluation of $1.1 billion. Trump was able to pay back that loan with interest. He paid them back their money with interest. And New York saying, no, he scammed them because they should have never lent him the money in the first place, even though Trump was able to pay it back with interest. And this is where he got charged 34 counts for. Okay. That don't sound good to me. Just as the sitting president is completely immune from any criminal process, so too is President Trump as president-elect, Trump's lawyers wrote in a letter filing this week. The case, which was filled by George Soros-backed Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, was always considered by far the weakest that Trump faced, as many Democrats even voiced serious concerns about it, noting that it's likely never would have been brought if Trump was not running for president. Exactly. All political. All political. The two federal cases that Trump faced from special counsel Jack Smith are rapidly coming to an end since the Department of Justice is not able to prosecute a case against a sitting president. So Trump is just winning through the week. We all winning. We all happy, right? And this is hurting the left. The lefts, they're crying to themselves at night. They're doing the fetal position. You got left-wing celebrities running away to England. I forgot the lady's name, Ellen DeGenerate. I don't know her name. The lesbian lady that got caught being a toxic employer. I forget her name. She went to London somewhere, UK somewhere. You got celebrities running to a new app called Blue Skies. Blue Skies. Telling people deuces on X. Okay, right? And I think I did a video. I think I showed a clip. X is the most centrist platform you can find, where it mirrors exactly to the T the political distribution of the country itself. So this shows you that the left can't really win anywhere unless they have an unfair advantage. So right now, the left is being warned. Democrats are being warned. I think her name is Stephanie Rowley, I don't know how to say her name, urges Democrats not to make themselves irrelevant by leaving X. Rowley warned Democrats are going into an echo chamber. I mean, the left has always been about an echo chamber. And I think if you follow me on X, I pointed this out that this is the hierarchy. Democrat women are most likely to block you, disassociate from you, not how you say it, distance themselves from you. Then it's Democrat men. Then it's Republican women. Then it's Republican men. That means the least tolerant person in the hierarchy in the Democratic Party is the women, per usual. I mean, look, Democrats were warned by many strategists, hey, Democrats, your messaging is too feminine. And what they did, they didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to listen. They didn't want to. They're like, la, 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 la. We're girl bosses, and we're better than men. We don't need no man. Okay. American men took it seriously. Okay, you don't need no man? Okay, we'll go over here. And then they complain. Imagine, make this make sense. If you look at the DNC, you saw nothing but women, nothing but diversity, nothing but you barely saw a man on there on the stage in the DNC. The RNC had more diversity than the DNC. The RNC had white man, black man, women, black women, Latino women, Indian women. It was all kind of diverse in the Republican side. All of them say, hey, we want what's best for America. You look at the DNC side, all you saw was white women, black women, Hispanic women, trans women. When trans for me is fake women, but that's another rant for another day. You saw all kinds. And then you saw one man, two men, sprinkle men here and there, kept us in the background, women here, I am woman, hear me roar. They do all this stuff, right? Election comes. They get mad that men don't vote for them. Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. We don't need no man. Look at The View. The View was talking about what we need men for. You needed our vote. That's what you needed us for sure. You needed our vote. And now the chickens have come home to roost, right? MSNBC Stephanie Rowan urged leftists and Democrats this week not to abandon X following President Trump's victory. Roland made the remarks during a Friday segment on Morning Joe. Elon Musk brought X and turned it into a social media arm of the mega movement. This is a lie. All right, this is a lie. X is the most centrist, balanced platform out of all. Like, the distribution amount of people is like 48% Democrat and 47% Republican. So this shows you that the left, they cannot stand playing on an equal playing field. That's it. That's all Republicans, conservatives were asking for. Hey, apply the rules evenly. That's all conservatives were asking for. We ain't asking for special treatment. We ain't asking you to content moderate. We ain't asking for none of that. All we're asking for is equal treatment. Two-way street. If you get banned for hate speech, I get banned for hate speech. Okay, that's fair. What is hate speech? If you say anything that hurts people's feelings, okay, calling conservatives stupid hurts my feelings. But you are stupid, liberal. This is the liberals. This is leftist logic. I'm just saying. Scotland Scorpion says, we need and appreciate men for many, many things, not just in female spaces. That's a nice joke. For the Democrats, allegedly, if you ain't trying to be a woman, there's no purpose of you being alive. That's from the left perspective, at least. She said, after we sat there right in the middle of it during the campaign and possibly not realize that we're sitting there like fat chickens just getting attacked all day and just being part of this mega messaging. She then warned people that who are leaving the platform for a left-wing social media platform called Blue Skies are soloing themselves from others. But this is the trend of the Democrats, right? And I think I showed the stats before. Maybe I'll find it again. Give me a sec to find it again. But I shown this before, that Democrats have a tendency to exclude themselves from situations that they perceive as threatening, right? Is the whole FEMA stuff all over again. Oh, a Trump supporter was mean to me, so now I'm avoid all Trump supporters. Discrimination, right? Here it is. Here's my X tweet. I'm shouting myself out. Follow me on X if you haven't followed me on X. Here we go. Here's my take. Honestly, the political divide in this country has always been driven by the left. Agreed? Don't agree? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comment section. When you think differently from them, they attempt to mock you, label you, might have done us a favor removing themselves out of our lives, given the correlation with mental illness with leftism. That is true. If you see stats, there's a correlation with people who have bad or poor mental health with liberalism. I'm just saying. Conservative parents raise mentally healthier kids than liberal parents by a good 20% margin, I think. It's like 75% of conservative parents raise mentally healthy kids, and it's like 55% liberal parents raise mentally healthy kids. So it's still the majority. Majority of liberal parents still do a good job by their kids, but if you see, there's no coincidence that most transgender kids, to me, there's no such thing as a transgender kid. I think you've been conditioned to believe you're transgender by your parents, by your mom, usually. Those people have poor mental health. I'm just saying. Here's a stat I always like to reference. Democrats block friends over political views more likely than others. Look at the Democratic women, 30% of the time. Then you got Democratic men, 14% of the time. That means Democratic women are the least tolerant people politically. I mean, Democratic women are the same kind of women that'll say that they can't date a man that's pro-life. A Democratic woman is the same woman that says, I can't date a Trump supporter. I mean, Democratic women are the ones going on TikTok. That's my joke. I tell my wife this all the time. I say, oh, you're on TikTok? She's like, why you say it like that? I said, because I say it like that. So these women on TikTok started a whole movement where they're trying to sterilize the whole population by not having kids. You're already doing that. I think liberal women, on average, they have about 1.5 kids. And I think conservative women have about like 2.5 kids, if I remember that correctly. I think I might be messing up that stat. Don't quote me. I messed up that stat. But y'all already doing that. So liberal women saying we don't want to date men. We ain't gonna have sex with men. We're not gonna sleep with men. We're not gonna go. I'm like, yours already doing that. like, make it make sense. You see Republican men, 8% chance they'll cut you off. Republican women are only off by 2%, 10%. So 10% of the time, a Republican woman will cut you off because you disagree with her. Most Americans. That means conservatives, Republicans, I'm proud of y'all. We some of the most tolerant, we're some of the most open-minded people according to this stat. Most Americans, 13%, will cut you off if you disagree with them. And you see Republicans and Republican men and women make that, wow. That's crazy. And then Democratic men are slightly above average in cutting you off. But Democratic women will cut you off. They'll block you. They'll say, I don't want nothing to do with a racist. Da, 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 da. Okay, bye, Felicia. So this is what I'm saying. People are sick of the left, bro. There's no place for these people anymore, bro. They're making up all these allegations. They coming out like they have lost the plot. These people have lost the plot. So, done ranting about the left. In my next hour that I have with you all, I want to talk about pretty much the government efficiency program. You guys, Vivek Ramaswamy, my favorite guy. We're gonna talk about a lot of stuff. But one thing I'm gonna talk about before, actually, I gotta put a nail in the coffin for Mr. Barack Hussein Obama. Here's a 1-minute clip. We get into the clips now. And I want you guys to watch this. And then I'll give you my thoughts.
The number one loser, you know who it is? Barack Obama. Do you know why? Because his voice doesn't carry weight anymore. He was out there begging, screaming, scolding, everything he did. He no longer carries that weight. Imagine Barack Obama every day he goes to sleep. He remembers that one dinner that he's talking shit to Trump, saying you'll never be president, when he did the angry tweets and all this stuff on Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, and he reads the Trump tweet at him talking shit about him. He says, at least you'll never be a president, drops the mic.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Obama has to eat his words for the rest of his life. It's gotta suck. The number one loser of 2024 election. The number one loser, you know who it is? Barack Obama.
I'm having too much fun with this video, bro. Wow. Imagine getting it so wrong. So wrong. Donald Trump is, hey, look, Donald Trump, bro, when that man, when he passes on to the next life, we gonna remember, he go a real one. We gonna remember that. They say, though, this man, one day a man tried him and he took his job. That man was Obama. That's crazy. That's crazy work. That is crazy work. And that's what I'm saying. People are tired of the left. The left here crying on like about a man going to the woman's bathroom. Here's AOC. Look at AOC's face. Pobrecita, oh, pobrecita. What she's crying about? A man with a penis can't go in a woman's bathroom. Oh, look at her. Look at how she pouts. Look how concerned, bro. Sometimes I think these people are just acting, bro. There's no way they legitimately believe this stuff. But hey, this is why people are sick of the left. Here you go.
It's disgusting, and everybody, no matter how you feel on this issue, should reject it completely. What are they doing? They're doing this so that Nancy Mace can make a buck and send a text and fundraise off an email. They're not doing this to protect people. They're endangering women. They're endangering girls of all kinds, and everybody should reject it. It's gross. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let me get this straight on the people on the left. It's gross and dangerous to reject a man with a penis from not being in female spaces. Make it make sense, guys. Wouldn't it be more dangerous to have a man be able to assume a gender identity and be like, hey, yeah, I'm a woman. Would it make more sense not to allow him any opportunity to do that? But no, left, if you're a victim, that's what it means to be a victim. You're never the problem. It's everyone else's fault, not the individual's fault. So we're gonna talk about the government efficiency because I have a lot to say. So breaking announcement. I think Vivek Ramaswamy announced that he's having a podcast to talk about how inefficient and corrupt our government is. So let's hear him out real quick.
As part of that process, I'm now all in. I'm focused on making sure that we actually accomplish the goal rather than just talking about it. So to that end, for the next little bit, I'm going to put a pause on the Weekly Truth podcasts. I've enjoyed doing it this year. It's been incredibly fun and entertaining. I've learned from a lot of the guests, and I've enjoyed communicating with all of you. We're going to put that on pause for a little bit. And as you may have heard, Elon and I are going to start a separate track of Dogecasts that explain exactly what we're doing to the public to provide transparency in what is a once-in-a-generation project. We want to bring the public along with us, to lift the curtain, to take us behind the scenes of what actually that waste, fraud, and abuse in government looks like. However bad you think it is, it's probably worse. But we don't want to do this to just expose the problem. We want to do it to solve the problem. So stay tuned. We're going to have more information about when those Dogecasts are going to begin. We are neck deep right now in transitioning to the new dawn on January 20th. But in the meantime, I thank all of you for your journey this year, for joining us. I've loved.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to start it on January 20th, around that week when Trump gets inaugurated. I can't say words right now. Inaugurated. I still mispronounce it. When Trump's come in, yeah, they're going to be prices to pay, because the one thing, the reason why I'm so anti-government, if you want to know why, hey, Kenny, philosophically, principally, why your default is anti-government, is because government do not pay any price for being wrong, right? When we get something wrong, we get a consequence. If you bought a bad car, you get a consequence. When it breaks down on you, you got to spend more money to take care of it. You get punished. You get real world feedback for making a good or bad decision. You know if you made a good or bad decision. The government's protected from that. If it makes a good decision, still getting funding. It makes a bad decision, still getting funding. The only way you can get true accountability in the government is if you vote people out. And what I believe is so smart with with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, I believe what they're trying to do is they're trying to educate the population to make them understand just how much the government misused their funds, right? Here's an example. Federal government agencies are using on average just 12% of the space in the DC headquarters. The Department of Agriculture, with space more than space for more than 7,000 people, averages 456 workers each day, 6% occupancy rate. That means majority of the time, every day, only 6% of the headquarters being used. What that means, you got too much house. Time to downsize, right? Like let's put it into, let's scale it down to just me, right? I when I was single, I didn't want to buy a house. I never want to buy a house when I was single, because I'm like, yo, why I'm gonna need 4 bedrooms for just me? Like, what I'm gonna do with the other 3 rooms? This is what the government's doing. Literally, you could save money, Kenny. You could save a lot of money. Just go to a 1-bedroom house, 1-bedroom rent. You're good. You're Gucci. You're by yourself. You're single. What'd you need a house for? I'm gonna pay $2,000, $3,000 in some places just to have 3, just to flex it. Like, yeah, I own my own house. but the maintenance, the cost, it's inefficient. It's inefficient. This is what the government is doing. Literally, that's the equivalent of what the government is doing. The government is making us pay this, but they don't suffer any consequences because it's not coming out of their pocket. There's a saying they used to say, it's easy to be generous with other people's money. This is the government. When you waste other people's money, when you overspend other people's money, you go, that's their problem. That's how the government look at us. That's the taxpayer's problem. That's not our problem. Why are the American taxpayer being spent to maintain empty buildings? For ego. For ego. That's why. Here's another reaction. A new op-ed by Elon Musk and Vivek. Select quotes. The entrenched and ever-growing bureaucracy represent an existential threat to our republic, and politicians abide by it for too long. That's why we're doing things differently. We are entrepreneurs, not politicians. We will serve as outside volunteers, not federal employees. Unlike government commissions or advisory committees, we won't just write reports or cut ribbons. We'll cut cost. Yes, we need that. When the president nullifies thousands of such regulations, critics will allege executive overreach. In fact, it will be correcting the executive overreach of thousands of regulations promulgated by administrative fiat that has never been authorized by Congress. And this is one thing that I hated what Congress did. Effectively, they created agencies that has no accountability. Like, imagine, let's bring it down to the business world. This is why I said Donald Trump is perfect for the time that we live in right now. I used to argue a lot with my leftist friends back in college when I used to go to college when Trump first won. Like, when I was finishing out college, or I was already working, I think, but I was still close to some college people. And they'll argue, oh, politics is not like business. I said if politics was like business, politics would make a lot more sense. The government will be a lot more better run. Because imagine you got a job, right? Let's say you got hired at a job, right? And they're paying you good money, good salary. And they're saying you're not accountable to nobody. They say, okay, when I'm supposed to show up? You're supposed to show up here, but you don't report to anybody. You're just getting paid. Essentially, that's what the government's doing. You don't show up to work. A lot of these federal workers don't even show up in person. They work from home. They work remotely for most of the days when they're supposed to be in home. Literally, Vivek can fire all of them by going, you have to be in office 5 days a week. He'll fire all of them, will quit on their own. I mean, corporations are already doing this. Amazon's already doing this. They want 5-day work weeks. No more work from home. Literally, this is what our government is wasting our money on. The use of executive orders to substitute for lawmaking by adding burdensome new laws is a constitutional affront. But the use of executive orders to roll back regulations that wrongly bypass Congress is legitimate and necessary to comply with the Supreme Court recent mandates. So he's trying to articulate to you, and this is why I believe him, that Trump can actually do something about this stuff because of the recent mandates from the Supreme Court. And after those regulations are fully rescinded, a future president can't simply flip the switch and revive them, but would instead have to ask Congress to do so. Because a lot of these agencies that are created, like the NPRs, these bureaucratic agencies were created by executive order. And then you need Congress to go fire them? Like, make it make sense. That don't make sense. So the executive branch that created the agency, it can't fire the agency? That makes no effing sense whatsoever. And it's an incentive structure that pushes laziness, wasteful spending, right? And you wonder why the government don't do nothing. You wonder why the government spends more time protecting itself than actually doing something for the good of the people, because the government loves its cushy job. You don't do nothing, you cruising, you chilling, half the day you barely show up. I think James O'Keefe has a government employee caught on tape admitting this, that they don't really do any work in the government, and they're just sitting there just like taking a check. But y'all spending money, y'all hiring IRS agents to hound us, to make sure y'all get the tax dollars because you need to fund your grift. You need to fund your lifestyle, government employees. This is why I don't have sympathy for federal employees. And they're talking about, oh, Trump's going to tank the economy if he lets Vivek and Elon fire these government workers. Last time I checked, I might be wrong a little bit here. I believe federal government only makes up like what 6% of our workforce. It's still a lot. I mean, that's a lot of people, but still, like you fire half of them, 3%, it's gonna be a blip in the system. And this is why I have such a distrust of government. And Thomas Sowell, many of you guys know, my favorite my favorite person to read. I got most of his books. I don't got most of his books. I have a lot of my books I have are from him. Basic Economics is a good one. It's pretty hard to read. But he's going to articulate something that I profoundly believe, that I honestly believe when government gets involved, they create an incentive structure that pushes people to make bad choices. It rewards people for making bad choices. If you're a single mom, you get a bigger tax break than someone who's married. That makes no sense to me. Logically, if you get more benefits from being a single mom, hey, you get more benefits from being poor than being rich. Because if you're rich, if you're middle class, you pay everything and you get nothing. If you're poor, you get everything free. But you're poor. But government take care of you. The government pays for your housing. Your housing's only $50 a month. You get WIC, you pay your food, they pay your groceries. That don't have to come out of your pocket. I see why the illegals like to come over here illegally, huh? The government benefits. But one thing that I think a lot of Americans need to be cognizant of is that government benefits has a cost. It may feel free, but in the long term, it hurts all of us because the price you pay for government benefits is inflation. But I digress. Let's hear some thoughts from Thomas Sowell.
Oh, I suppose, yeah. I'm a great believer in maximum freedom.
Civil libertarian?
I certainly not in the sense in which the American Civil Liberties Union is. I don't believe that hoodlums should be kept in school because of some strange reading of the Constitution. Because I think people have to recognize that all people owe their lives to the surrounding society, and that they cannot simply demolish it because it is unjust, because everything human has always been unjust. And that what you're going to do to make it better will have to be within that context. So that my tendency is to want more freedom for the individual and less. I don't want people making decisions who don't pay the price of their decisions. And that's what politics is all about. You don't pay the price of the decision. As I point out earlier in the book, one of the reasons we had a Jim Crow era in this country was because the politicians didn't pay the price of that. That was enormously costly to the white as well as to the black population. But the politicians who put that in didn't pay any cost for that. They drew their full salary irrespective of all that. And I want someone who discriminates to have to lose money discriminating, because for the examples I gave in the book, people tend to back off when they start losing big money. Harlem was an all-white.
And the biggest example of this, and this is why, I think this is why I'm a conservative, because libertarians, but libertarians is almost like an idealistic form of another thing. Like socialists think like government can run everything and everything's going to be kumbaya, everything's going to be good. When reality shows that that's not the case. I see libertarian as an opposite extreme of a socialist, right? Oh, we can do everything with no rules, everything's social contract, but there's some people who will try to take advantage of you. And one of the ways I like to articulate the fact, a lot of the things that government do is somewhat unneeded, right? You come in, you say, hey, Title IX laws. Oh, we want equal and fair treatment. Okay. If you discriminate against someone who has a certain skin color, you lose business, right? You lose business. My best example is a racist coach. If a racist coach had a chance to pick number 1 draft pick, LeBron James or some random white player, his job's on the line. He has to win. He has to have winning seasons. His salary is contingent on the fact that his team performed well. Even if the best player on the world is black, the racist will still pick LeBron James. Why? Because his own interest overrides his racism. And this is a core tenet. Like, end of the day, Human nature is we're very self-driven to a degree. We're self-driven. If it's something, hey, a hold to racism or something that benefits me personally, people always go what benefits them personally. This is why I said, like, I don't worry about racism. Racism can't stop me. Because at the end of the day, if I'm so good that you can't deny me, if you be racist towards me, that's your loss. That's your problem. Because in the end, you'll lose. The results will punish you. The outcomes will punish you. You didn't pick LeBron James? Oh, hell no. I got LeBron James. And then when my team is mollywhopping you, you're going to regret, damn, I should have chose LeBron James. But I let my racism stop me. This is how you punish racism. This is how you punish isms. You make them pay a physical consequence, not by, prosecuting them, ostracizing. I mean, that's a case too. But showing how wrong and misguided their philosophy is. But to punish somebody for racism, you have to actually be valuable. And this is what I try to stress to black people a lot. Hey, be valuable. Hey, go to school, learn something. Be valuable to society. If you're getting paid 6 figures to be a doctor, you're valuable in society. If someone don't want your services, that's their loss. That's their problem. They'll suffer a consequence for that. You don't need no politician sitting here sticking up for you. You can stick up for yourself. And this is the mentality, the do for self mentality that I think is kind of a core principle of many black conservatives. Government do nothing for me. That's Frederick Douglass. Freedom is something you fight for. That's Frederick Douglass. Booker T. Washington. A society will not respect a community if it's not valuable and contributing to society. This is why black people, our voices are not taken seriously for the most part, because everyone knows, hey, this is some of the poorest demographic, right? If you look at us socially, we're some of the most racially exclusive people, right? We like to hang amongst each other. We like to do for black. Oh, what you gonna do for black people? The whole reparations thing. We're very race-centric. I only date black women. I only date black men. Black people tend to speak like this. If you look at some polls, I'm sorry, this is data. It's not the majority, but people ask across all racial groups, which racial group is the most likely to be racist? Can anyone guess in the comment section? Can anyone guess in the chat? Say it with me, black people. Asians said black. White people said black. Hispanic people said black. Black people said black. Black people are the most likely to be racist based on the discriminatory prejudice part of it. Because you're more likely to think, oh, you had a privileged life because you're white. Even though you came from rural America in poverty, the black person who came up in the city will still think you have more privilege than him. Make it make sense. This is why people are sick of the left. This is why people are sick of black Democrats opening their mouth, talking about how oppressed they are. Talking about how they can't quote Martin Luther King because they're a white man. A black Democrat congresswoman said that on the Congress stage. In a hearing, she said that. Was it Crockett? I forgot her name. But this is the ridiculousness that we're talking about. And then they get mad why people want DEI out of schools. Because at the end of the day, DEI is what? Racism under new management. That's reality. And that's a progressive idea. That's a left-wing idea. This is why people are tuning out the left. This is why people are sick of the left. Even the left is sick of the left. So I'm still want to stick on the government efficiency program. But here's Cenk Uygur coming across the aisle, and he's getting backlash from people on his own side because he's willing to work with Elon Musk to cut down the government. Because him and Elon agree on one thing. The budget for the Pentagon needs to be cut. Because the Pentagon loses money. Imagine, they losing billions of dollars. What happened to the billions of dollars we sent you, Pentagon? Oh, we don't know what happened to it. But you still want us to give you $1 billion, but you're losing it. Make it make sense. How is that efficient? And people wonder why, they're laundering money here. But I digress. Let's hear Cenk and his response to the whole backfire he's getting right now. This is the backlash he's getting from the left. And this is why I said everyone's getting sick of the left. Everybody. Even people on their own side is sick of them. Make it make sense. 2024 will be the year that the Democrats may have lost any relevancy any relevancy in politics. Let's watch the video.
This is the tweet that you sent that's very controversial. Let's put it up here. Hey, Elon Musk, put me in charge of the Pentagon. I'll slash $400 billion easy. That'll get you 20% to your goal of $2 trillion right out of the gate. I went to Wharton 3 years before you. I own a media company, so I know how to run a business. If you really want to cut, put me in coach. Elon Musk actually responded and said, specific suggestions are welcome. What is the problem?
Yeah, I can't imagine what the problem is. What I'm telling the left is take the win. It's not that complicated. So they say, well, look, they're not really going to do it. Well, then if they don't do it, then we'll call them out on it. Again, where's the problem? Oh, they were actually going to cut Medicare and Medicaid. That's probably true, and it's very likely, and we'll fight them on that. But
you know what I find funny about progressives complaining about progressives is that it just shows you progressives never really cared about acting on solutions. Progressives never really care about fixing problems. They only care about having rivalries, creating enemies, just having something to fight against. You hear all the excuses the left brings up. Oh, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Yeah, but that shouldn't stop you from trying, though. Right? If you're really about that life, you're really about, hey, I'm trying to make this world a better place, and I believe my ideology has the best solution for this case, why not do it? Regardless if it could fail or not. Anything worth trying is worth failing at. But you hear all the excuses that they're telling Shank, oh, they're going to do this, they're not really going to do it. It doesn't matter. Try. This is why progressives never get, I don't want progressives to get any kind of power, because they'll just find more things to slay, right? They always want to find more imaginary problems to find, because progressivism relies on the fact that a problem exists, while conservatism can be like, hey, we got to maintain this, because conservatives understand, hey, if you don't maintain your culture, it's going to degrade into something else, and we're facing the consequences of that, right? We got too lenient here, too lenient there. Next thing you know, men are saying they're women now. This is what happens when you don't defend your institutions, why you don't defend that. What happens when you don't defend your traditions, how things are, because conservatives understand there's some untimeless truths. Timeless truths are men will always be men, women will always be women. Humans have a propensity to do things based on their self-interest, and based on your self-interest, you'll do things that is counter to what is good for the collective. This is where moral ethic standards come from. Conservatives tend to be rooted in the moral ethic, the sense of duty. Right? This is how I like to divide the left and the right. A leftist is someone who tends to say, who tends to think that they have no obligations to society. Conservatives tend to be people who think they have a duty and responsibility to society. Right? Liberals only care about liberty, and conservatives tend to care about duty and responsibility. What is your duty and responsibility to society that helped protect you, that raised you? That's why honor thy family, honor thy mother and father. This is why conservatives tend to want to be together with their family. This is why conservatives, man and woman, don't tend to cut off friends because they have a political disagreement, because we value the people who helped raise us and shape us, even if they disagree with us politically. While the left, they only care about themselves. They only care about my personal freedom. I have no obligations to nobody. Oh, really? You have no obligations to no one? You're not going to thank the people that took 18 years to raise you, protect you, feed you when you couldn't do it for yourself? Now you're 18. I don't have no obligation to you, mom and dad. Oh, you voted for Trump? I'm going to cut you off. Oh, you're not woke like me? You're a despicable human being. Huh. What an ungrateful ideology. And I think that's one of the reasons why I never was a liberal. But I digress. Let's continue with the clip.
why would we fight them on a thing we agree on? So we've been wanting to cut the Pentagon for decades on the left. And there's a reason for that, too. It's because that is where the biggest fraud and abuse are. Because anytime you go to cut the Pentagon, they go, oh, you're going to endanger national security. Oh, my God, all of our lives are going to be lost if you cut it by $1. That's why they
said the same thing for the Department of Education. Our kids are failing educational-wise. I saw the 2024 grade scale. I think if you get a 64% on a grade, it's a B now in 2024. What? When I was going to school, a 64% was a D. Now it's a B in 2024. Department of Education, folks. But liberals defended tooth and nail that we got to protect it. Nah, close it down. Close it down. Before it was created, we was number one in education. Number one. United States of America. That was us. This is when Trump talks about make America great again, this is what he's talking about. Before Department of Education was created in the federal level, number one education system. After it was created in 2008, it was found that we were 24th in the nation. Now we're one of the worst education systems in the world. That shows you that, the Department of Education failed us. There needs to be what? Accountability. And the accountability is, we got to disband your whole department. It's not working. You have to justify your own existence. And the way they justify their own existence is they play this game of, it's going to be a lot worse if we're not here. Which Cenk here, I agree with his argument here. Oh, yeah, national security, a pretext. It's an excuse to continue having them give us a sorry excuse for a job, like a sorry outcome. This is what I'm talking about. That's what I did with my RFK video, the bad outcomes. You want us to continually trust the health organizations when we're continually being less and less healthy, even though we have more access to information, more access to technology, more access to wealth, more access to information, yet we're less healthy than we were 60 years ago? How'd that make any sense? You can't argue with the outcomes. You can argue with methods, approach, methodologies, but the outcomes don't lie. If what you were doing was good, we'll get good outcomes. Everyone will like your outcomes. RFK wouldn't even get a chance to get near the human health services cabinet position. But because you kept giving us bad outcomes, because of the fact that America is seen as one of the most obese countries in the world, majority of adults in the U.S. are obese, you have to have some accountability. And we see Trump as the accountability. That's how I see him anyway. Let's continue with the clip.
Stuff all the pork in the Pentagon. If they're going to cut, they got to cut at the Pentagon. And now we're having a conversation. And by the way, Marjorie Taylor Greene today, when talking about how she's going to head up the Doge committee in the House, said one of the first places to cut is the Pentagon. Mm-hmm. The rest of the left, please take the win.
Do you think it's just, hey, we can't even entertain a conversation with Elon Musk or the Donald Trump administration? Do you think that this is he just won the election. Is there a lesson that has to be learned right now? Do you think it's just we can't even look like we're cooperating whatsoever?
Yeah, that's a lot of it. And there's a lot of spite out there. But I just can't understand the logic of it. If they do something.
The logic is leftists, Marxists, socialists, people on the left, they're very collectivist. They're very tribal. They can't have any cooperations, right? This is the funny part. I always think the left projects what they would do onto the right. Oh, Trump wants to run on an issue. Okay, you have an opportunity to work with Trump to fix a problem that you've been complaining about for as long as progressive's been around. And you don't want someone to work with Elon Musk because you don't like Elon Musk. It's the same logic when leftists say, Elon Musk is so low IQ. Can a low IQ person create a multiple companies, be worth $300 billion, catch a rocket out of space, out of the air? Can a low IQ person manage, direct, and supervise that? I don't think so. But the left, because Elon Musk now disagrees with them politically, they want to call him a dummy. This is the left. This is why people are sick of the left. The left don't live in reality. The left lives in a figment of their own imagination, and they try to pretend that the reality is exactly how they imagine reality to be. This is how you get a man who thinks he's a woman thinking that he deserves to be in the woman's bathroom. Because based on his imagination, he's a woman, but the reality is he's a man. This is why I said the left suffer more from their own imagination than from reality. Black liberals worry more about racism than the reality of racism. Reality of racism is it can only affect you at a personal level. There's no institutional racism. There's no systematic racism. The only thing that's systematic is your choices, your decisions, your behaviors, and the actions and choices that you make in your life. And if you make good actions and decisions, you get good outcomes. If you make bad decisions, you get bad outcomes. And my argument has always been that majority of black people, or a large swath of black people tend to make bad decisions. And this is why they have bad outcomes. For instance, black people get pulled over more than any other group of people in America. How is it we're in a majority of pullovers, but only 13% of the population? Well, I have a stat that shows you your habits. Black people tend to speed. On average, I think we drive maybe 5 miles, 10 miles per hour faster than other groups of people. So if you're speeding more than other groups of people, wouldn't you get pulled over more than other people? Duh. Just like the NBA is 78% black. No one's saying that, oh my God, there's black privilege. You're only in the NBA because you're black. No one's saying that. But when bad outcomes happen to black people, they want to complain about racism. You can't have it both ways. Either racism played a part in you becoming an NBA superstar. 78% of the NBA is black. Therefore, racism is the reason why majority of NBA is black. And it's also the majority reason why black people are in jail, get pulled over more. Or it's because racism has nothing to do with the outcomes that you get as a community. It's due to your choices. You chose to drive 10 miles faster than average, and this is why you get pulled over more often. I always said this a lot on my channel, and I'll say it, reiterate it here, and I think this is my catchphrase. Data doesn't prove a narrative. Data only proves a result. Data only proves the results of your community's decision-making. That's why I say personal decision-making has more impact over your life than racism ever can. Internal decision-making has more impact on your life than anything else. I truly live this philosophy. When I face a problem, racism is the last thing I'll consider for why I got a bad outcome in that interaction. I always look at myself, what I did, how I contributed to the situation before I blame racism. And this is what progressives are doing. They want to blame everyone else, but they say, hey, you could have been part of the solution, but instead you want to be passive. You want to be neutral because you can't let the conservatives win on this issue. You don't want to help because you're not about solving problems. You're about creating problems. You're about creating friction. You just want control. Oh, if we're not in control, damn it. The America can be damned. And this is the problem with leftism. Leftism just want rivalry. They don't want solutions. And this is why they get called a cult. This is why many people believe that the left is a cult. When they don't get their way, they run. They hide. They circle jerk each other and say, oh, look at us. We're so much better than them. And everyone's looking at them like, look at these weirdos over there. And that's the reality of what's going on. Their feelings got hurt because their imagination, oh, Kamala's going to win. We're the popular. We're the majority. We're the majority. The left loves to say that phrase. We're the majority. And in reality, smacked them in the face and said, no, you're not the majority. You're equal at best. You're parity at best. But you're not the majority. And the left's self-esteem and feelings got hurt because reality didn't match their imagination of events. I'm done ranting. Let's finish off the video.
Something wrong, you call them out. If they do something right, you give them credit. It's just common sense. And guys, there's another element to it. You know, I had run the largest online network, period, but certainly the largest on the left, and no one would dispute that. And a Democratic leader has never asked me, hey, any suggestions? Hey, we'd like to cut the Pentagon. I mean, when's the last time a Democratic leader said that? And oh my God, we'd like to talk to our base and find out how we can cut the Pentagon.
I always say that the Democrats always get, like, the leftists always get taken advantage of because all they care about is superficial BS, right? I say, hey, look, Trump's willing to hear people out. Trump's willing to make deals with people. Trump's willing to build coalitions. And what the Democrats are willing to do? No, it's my way or the highway. Same way with black Democrats. Black Democrats don't want to sit down and say and give an honest ear to, okay, why are you a conservative? Why do you believe these things are good? Why not agree with us? Why you don't agree with us? Instead of having both, all perspectives on the table, a black Democrat will ostracize a black conservative or a black independent and say, oh, y'all guys are coons because you don't want to get along with Democratic massa. And they have the audacity to call people coons, house Negroes. When in reality, you guys are the house. Black Democrats are the biggest house Negroes because they sit here. They didn't vote for a candidate, yet they still voted for her. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. They complain, black Democrats or black people in general complain that they're in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, but they continue rewarding the Democratic Party with their vote. And you heard it what Shank said. Shank was like, yo, these people never sit down and ask my suggestions. But if you see the Republican Party, they're on podcasts, they're talking to Tim Pool, they're talking to Ben Shapiro, they're talking to Candace Owens. You see the interaction with politicians in the Republican Party interacting with the voters or representation of the voters, going out in rallies, talking to people. You only see Democrats hanging around Hollywood elites, famous people, rich people. You never see them hang around the common folk. And that's the difference. And then the Democrats want to sit here and pretend that they're the people's party. You're not. You're the party of the elite and the famous. I've been said this, but I digress.
And by the way, when Elon asked, I gave him a suggestion of why don't we ban conflict of interest that the generals have? Don't let them go to defense contractors after they retire, because
Don
otherwise
Jr.
they're
agreed with you on that.
motivated
Don
to
Jr.
give
agreed
them-
with you on that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in the health organization as well. But you're vaccine, you're anti-vaxxers. But the same conflict of interest you point out in the Pentagon is happening in the health organization too. It's just this is what I'm saying. This is a selective seeing. The progressives only want you to see it from their point of view, and this is why many people are sick of the left, even the left.
Yeah,
That's right. And look, I reached out. I said, if you guys are genuine about this, let's actually do this. As you see, I've got the tweet up there. I said they authorize so much wasteful spending because they're going to get hired by those same companies. And Don Jr. said this is a great idea that has been discussed.
So let me ask you this.
Fantastic.
And you see why people are sick of the left? Right? Sanctuary cities, look. Elon Musk, they're basically the same picture. Banning IDs make fraudulent voters by non-citizens easier. Making a state or a city a sanctuary for illegals, then maximize the potential number of fraudulent votes. Understanding the incentives explains seemingly irrational behavior. This is the left. This is why people are tired of hearing from the left. Right? Why does conservatives want to ban the Department of Education? The left has turned academia into a vehicle for left-wing activism and wants the public to continue providing unlimited and unqualified support. These days are over. Accountability is coming. We see it as accountability. Removing the Department of Education, shutting down the Department of Education, which has been used, forcing taxpayer dollars to essentially fund a whole institution. And this is what communists has been pointing out. I have a book called The Naked Communist that I read a lot, and it references the 48 laws of communism. And one of the tactics of communists and socialists is to take over places of education because they know he who controls the children controls the future. If they're able to control the minds of the youth, they'll know they'll have the future. This is why socialism is just as popular as capitalism, even though every socialist country has failed in the history of socialism being implemented. We must defund Planned Parenthood. $699 million a year is outrageous to an outside nonprofit. 34% of their revenue is from taxpayers. Make them raise their own money. We shouldn't subsidize them. This is why I'm against government subsidies, because the government is creating a fake incentive structure, and they're telling us, "Oh yeah, we fund it. Oh, abortion is so popular." No, it's not. It's split down the middle. You're funding it. This is social engineering. If I socially engineer a program where I want you guys, hey, I'm gonna spend $600 million on electric cars. I created an artificial demand for electric cars using taxpayer money. And how many people are willing to buy it? Maybe 1 million people. They want to get, so at best they'll get $100 million profit from a market share of 1 million people buying electric cars. But if the government come in and say, I'm spending $600 million for electric vehicles, all the businesses will make electric vehicles because the smart play is, oh, it's better to get $600 million from one entity than to get $100 million from a million different people. That's a harder sell to make. This is why I said that corporatism is a form of socialism. And that's why I see government subsidies. Government subsidies is a form of like a socialistic kind of policy position. Centralized power, centralized control, centralized influence. This is why the left hates X, because they don't have centralized conformity anymore. Before Elon Musk bought X, it was 68% Democrat. 68% Democrat. That means if you was a conservative, you went on X, you were getting outnumbered by Democrats. But now in 2024, it's damn near even. And because it's even now, the left is mad because they can't lie like they can't lie the same way they used to. They can't make up narratives the same way they used to. They can't just come in and be like, oh, you guys are Nazis and get piled on anymore. It's more balanced now. And they hate that. Because you know what they say? Special treatment, right? What they say? When you're used to special treatment, equality feels like oppression. And you see how the left is reacting. They're running away to blue skies. They're running to Mastodon. They're running away from X. Oh, we quit from X. Peace. We're running from the US. Peace. Because they found out they're not as popular as they thought they were. Right? Look at look, Pentagon, 7 audits in a row. You can't account for $824 billion, right? $236 billion in improper federal payments in 2023. More than $200 billion in pandemic relief potentially squandered, says government watchdog report. Make it make sense. But we supposed to reward you with more money? This is why people are tired of the left. Government can fix everything. Government can do this. Government can do that. No, it can't. Kamala Harris talking about, oh, we're going to use government spending. We're gonna put a budget of $100 million to go towards affordable housing. But you're squandering $1 billion. You don't know where it went. But I'm supposed to expect you to be able to fund a project to build affordable housing for American citizens. You're cashing a check that government can't make. The government has no track record of actually producing anything productive in a timely and efficient manner. This is why anytime someone runs with a policy where they're saying we're going to appropriate funds or money to build or do certain set outcome, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because they're going to squander the money. They're going to lose track of the money. They're going to be like, where the money went. And then you're left hanging the back. And when you go, what happened to $1 billion? Oh, I don't know. No one gets fired. No one got fired. No one got fired for losing track of the money. No investigations happen. No change in process where, okay, moving forward, all dollars must be tracked or else the government or the department gets a penalty. One of the things I would have done if I was president, I'm gonna put my president hat on. If I was president of the United States, one policy I will enact in government is if a government fails an audit, you should take out of their budget the amount of money that they lost until they're able to find out what happened to that money. That'll be the penalty. Okay, since you effed up and you couldn't tell me where the money was, now you lose $200 billion in funding. Now you lose $824 billion in funding until you can find out what went wrong in your department. That'll get them working real quick. Oh, we can't pay the government workers. Oh, I guess people are going to get fired because eventually, in my head, that's the incentive structure. You incentivize accountability in that structure. And that's what's wrong with government. People who don't get punished for being wrong continues making decisions on our behalf. This is why I say many people are tuning out the left. Because if you suffer no consequence for being wrong, are you going to be a good decision maker? No. Some of us, the reason why we're so good at making good decisions is because we learned from when we made bad decisions. I decided to pick up a snake and it bit me. I'm not going to do that again. You learn from previous experience. But government learns that when it makes a mistake, it gets rewarded for those. Oh yeah, we get bigger. We lost $2 million. You got to pay us $400 million to make up for that. Okay, because we're not paying attention. And the founding fathers warned us about this. If the people are not vigilant, they'll be like sheep. Aren't we like sheep? We just now figuring out that the Pentagon, 7 times in a row, the Pentagon failed its audit. It could not tell you what happened to all the money that it was supposed to be accounted for. This is why people like me are very anti-socialist. Because imagine giving the government, it's effing up right now. Imagine giving the government full control over your healthcare, your education, your livelihood. Everything's controlled by the government. And they're squandering money like this. It'll be oppression. How socialism work? How socialism think capitalists work? How capitalism actually work? Everyone gets poor. It's relative. if you make $100,000 and I make $1 million, you can't be like, oh, it's unfair. You still living good too. You just comparing yourself to me. How socialists think socialism work. How socialism actually works. And that's the reality. You squander all our money and you pointing the gun at me and saying, no, you're gonna continue paying taxpayer money. But you just lost $1 billion for no reason. You're getting me your money, or else you're gonna go to jail. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This is the left. This is why people are tuning out the left. This is why left is losing ground. This is why I think people are just sick of the left. They're sick of hearing the left. They're sick of seeing the left. It's because the left are so arrogant in their thinking. They're thinking like they're wrong. They're not wrong. They're never wrong. They think they're right about everything. And this, to close out this live stream, I want to play this clip of this guy. He hits it right on the head. The Democrat Party has become the party of elitist, cultist, arrogant interest group. That of the rich, the wealthy, the arrogant, the ideological. Let's take a look.
I think it's insulting when members of the working class, which the Democratic Party has lost entirely in our lifetimes, to insist the economy is doing great. A 12-pack of Bounty is $40. Rich folks don't feel that. Poor folks already switched to Sparkle during the COVID, during the lockdown. And I think telling them that the NASDAQ is gangbusters is further insulting. It's insulting. I think the biggest unforced error of the Biden administration by far was the border. To tell people it's not a problem is insulting. For the working class to see incoming migrants getting welcome bags, debit cards, and motel rooms is probably insulting as well.
At our expense, by the way, 100% paid by our taxes, by the way. I like to highlight that. And you wonder why a majority of Americans agree with mass deportation. I'll carry on.
So there's a lot of work to do. You know, it was when they handed out camo hats that said Harris Walls, and the Democrats they were kind of charmed by that. Their party has gone quinoa, and the rest of America's eating at Cracker Barrel. And so it was kind of an ironic use of something millions of Americans put on their heads to start their day every day. Yeah, they need to reach out to America again and be less about what's called suicidal empathy, worrying so much about minority groups in society and in your party that you win the argument, but you don't win the election.
Yeah, I don't know about the win the argument. The left hasn't won the argument since Trump started running, because everything is about but Trump. But, you know, I digress. As you guys know, Thanksgiving's next week. I hope you guys enjoy your time with your family. Hopefully, your left-wing, your Democrat family members didn't cut you off or decided that they're not going to show up for Thanksgiving. I hope that don't happen to you guys. But if it did, hey, that's their decision. Don't feel any type of way about it. Who cares? Who knows? Right? I'm gonna enjoy myself this Thanksgiving. I'm gonna probably release some videos, some pre-recorded videos over the next week, but there'll be no live stream next week, as you obviously will enjoy Thanksgiving and Black Friday or whatever, all the whatnots. But I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like the video on your way out. I appreciate you guys for watching the live stream. I appreciate you guys. That's all I have for today. And I'll catch you guys 2 weeks from now. So enjoy your weekend. Enjoy Thanksgiving day. And I'll catch you guys on the next live stream. Peace.